James Lynch here for BODOG. Always great catching up with my next guest, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He's back in action here. UFC Nashville, July 12th, taking on Gabriel Bonfim. Wonderboy, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Looking forward to this fight coming up July 12th, baby, in training camp, and we're getting after it, as you can tell.
Was this the right amount of time off? Like, take some time away, come back after the last fight? Like, was this good timing for you, especially fighting in front of a crowd?
Yeah, man, this is great timing. After getting knocked out is not too fun. Making sure everything is healed up and doing right before I step out there again, and give me time to do just that. Heal up properly, get back into training camp, get in shape. And we're 6 weeks out, and I'm ready to rock and roll, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great card. Were there any other opponents in the mix, or was it only Bonfim that you knew about?
Just Bonfim that I knew about. I know he's an up and coming fighter. He was undefeated until he fought Dalby.
Yeah.
But I think he's on like a 2-fight win streak after that fight. So he's a stud, man. He's a stud for sure.
Yeah. Did you know much about him before taking this fight, or was he one of those guys you had to look up?
I mean, I heard about him and his brother,
Yeah.
but I never watched really any of his fights, to be honest with you, until now.
Yeah.
But man, he's an aggressive striker. Loves the guillotine, loves the darce. So you got to be careful shooting it on a guy like that for sure. He brings the action, which is what I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want somebody that brings the action, and he comes straight at you.
Now, obviously, this isn't going to be a boring fight. I mean, you've got, and I know, we talked in the past, you don't want to fight just a wrestler. This looks like a fight of the night. Like, that's got to get you pretty excited for the style matchup, right?
Yeah, man. Of course, obviously he's lower ranked, and which I don't mind. I don't mind giving these guys a shot at coming up and trying to take my spot, just like the guys before me have done for me. The Jake Ellenbergers, the Rory MacDonalds, the Johnny Hendricks. These guys gave me that opportunity. And in this game nowadays, everybody's so adamant on holding on to their spot in the UFC or in the rankings that they don't give these guys an opportunity to come up and prove themselves, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, now's my chance to give Gabriel Bonfim that chance, give him a shot at moving up.
Yeah, and this is why you're the NMF. You wouldn't hear a lot of fighters say that. A lot of fighters are like, look, I don't want to end my career on someone else's, trying to build off my name. But this is why you're the NMF, the nicest MF in the sport, man. I think that's a good way to look at it. And, again, I think for you as well, you go in there and beat a Bonfim, right? Like, you're kind of back in the saddle, right? You beat an up-and-comer.
Oh, 100%, man. And especially a stud like him. I mean, he was undefeated, like I said, until Dalby. I know the guy's a smart and intelligent fighter, so I know he's gone back and made some adjustments. He's on a 2-fight win streak after that fight, so he's looking great. And why not give this guy a chance to come up? And obviously, I want to test myself against these up-and-coming studs, and what better guy than Gabriel Bonfim?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, training camp, everything the same? Who you working with? Who's helping you get ready for this fight?
Yeah, man. Obviously, my buddy Weston Wilson. I was trying to get him on the card in Nashville, but I don't think it's going to happen. We'll see. My buddy Gino, who's Penn State wrestler. He's undefeated right now. Hopefully, we'll get him on the Contender Series this summer. Got Rory MacDonald coming down, obviously next week.
No way. That's awesome. How did that all get set up?
Well, me and him have a relationship. I spent a lot of time in Montreal with GSP and those guys, and what better guy to have come down and help you with a strong striker and grappler and Gabriel Bonfim than one of the GOATs, man, Rory MacDonald, who's good everywhere. He's kind of getting back on the scene with social media. He's getting back into training.
Good.
And he's just got a mind for it. He's got a high IQ when it comes to the fight game. And yeah, man, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while now.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really sure where he was at in training camp and things like that. But I've seen on social media that he's back into training, doing some content with other YouTubers and fighters. So I was like, hey, let me ask Rory MacDonald to help me out, and he's coming down next week and help me prepare for this fight.
And I remember, this is how far this goes back. You guys had the same manager way back in the day, right? With Alchemist, I remember that, like way back in the day with Jeff Aronson, right? You guys were under the same banner, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we were, man. Alchemist Management. It was Jeff Aronson.
Yeah.
It was Lex McMahon.
Yeah.
And at one point, it was MC Hammer.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So my very first fight, it was pretty cool because MC Hammer walked me to the venue.
I remember.
For my very first fight. I had GSP in my corner, which was just, I mean, one of my all-time favorite favorite memorable fights was because of that right there.
Yeah.
Having MC Hammer walk me and the family down, and having GSP in the corner. But yeah, Alchemist Management, man, they're still doing their thing, and I still have a great relationship with those guys.
Yeah, they're awesome. And just quickly, because you mentioned your fight with Rory, I was at that card. So 2 interesting things about that fight. First, you remember the air conditioning in the venue was broken. It was super hot. And the second thing, I don't know if you remember this, but remember the post-fight presser was on a football field where the CFL, Ottawa, Red Blacks, I don't know what they're called now, that's where everything was because it was so hot in the venue.
Yeah, I remember. It's funny you said that. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
And now that I remember it being so hot that the AC unit. And I remember when we showed up, we had to walk through the
Football
field
Yeah.
to get the football field to get to the venue.
Yeah.
So that was dude, I can't believe you remember that, man.
Yeah,
that was
no,
crazy.
that was ages ago. I think 2016, if I remember. I forget how long
Yeah.
ago it was, but I just remember that because the media, we were on the field, like waiting for you guys to come out. Now, actually, now that I think about it, the post-fight presser was in some it looked like a horse barn or something, or somewhere where they hold. You remember this? It was like some pavilion. It was like a big empty warehouse or something.
Yeah, it was such a weird thing, man. It was in Ottawa, right?
Yeah,
it was in
Ottawa,
Ottawa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Canada
was kind of
capital.
I remember that, and it was such a weird thing. I mean, it was a stacked car. We had a lot of guys on there, but it was weird in the fact that all these little things had happened, and the after the fight, the presser was in some kind of weird
And
barn,
it was late
like you
too.
said.
I think it was like 2 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
You guys had to come out. Yeah, it was nuts. So.
Yeah, I don't think I left the venue till almost 3 a.m.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's reminiscing here, reminiscing. Your corner, obviously your dad's going to be in the cage with you. Who's going to be in the corner for you for this one?
Probably Weston Wilson and possibly my jiu-jitsu coach. Of course, my brother-in-law, Carlos Machado, has been in my corner for a long time. But my jiu-jitsu coach, who's a black belt under Carlos, Brad Strain, could possibly be there. He wasn't able to make it my last time because of the hurricane that came through and the tornadoes that came through our hometown. Of course, he's had a family, so he wasn't able to come out to my last fight. Of course, it was sunny in Utah, but back home, it was like devastation, dude. It was like, the hurricane hit us pretty hard, even though we're more inland, but it created a whole lot of tornadoes, and it just tore up everybody's houses, yards. It was pretty wild. So he wasn't able to make it. So my brother filled in. Yeah. So it'll be, depending on where he's at, it could be my brother Tony, or it could be Brad Strain.
How's this fight playing out on July 12th? How do you see it unfolding?
Man, like I said, man, I don't go out there looking for the knockout. I always visualize my hand being raised after every fight. I'm looking to go out there and put on a show for the UFC. I got 2 fights left on my contract, and I want to get those dubs. You know what I'm saying? I want to get the dubs. I want to get a win. Hopefully, we'll move up the ranking, get somebody like, Prates or I don't know, man, a good striker for the next fight. And you never know, man. We're back in the mix. Yeah. So I'm officially the oldest guy in the UFC at this point, and I'm coming strong, baby. Old man strength and old man speed. We're bringing it.
Is the plan to renegotiate your contract after this fight? Because usually you don't let the last one go, or are you going to fight it out and see what happens?
Hopefully, I want to fight it out. I want to honor my contract and fight it out and see where it goes from there, Yeah. So I don't have any plans. If obviously if I win, I want to see how far I can keep going,
Yeah, for sure.
So I know I'll be out there in Atlanta as an analyst. Yeah. So still working that gig as well. I'll be out there next weekend for that fight, for the Kamaru Usman and Buckley fight. So still doing some things there with UFC, with ESPN as an analyst, which is a ton of fun. So wherever we go, man, we'll still be with UFC.
Love it. Speaking of which, who's winning the main event? You fought Buckley in your last fight. Obviously, tough test against Usman. How's that one playing out?
Been a while since Usman fought. Buckley's, man, he's killing it right now. I mean, you saw what he did with Colby Covington. You saw those 2 fights with Usman and Colby. I think Buckley, man, I think it's a very tough fight for Usman. Very tough fight. Buckley's strong. He's got great striking. He's explosive. Takedown defense is on point. And if he can keep the fight standing, I think Buckley's got it.
Okay.
Of course, at that level, man, anybody can come out with the dub.
Yeah. And just quickly, we got UFC 316 this weekend. Kayla or Julianna Pena, who's winning the co-main event?
Oh man, you got to hit me with that one, bro. Oh man, Pena, she has some upsets, man. I mean, she's tough. Anybody's going to beat Harrison is going to be her. But both are really good grapplers. I'm pretty sure, even though they're both really good on the ground. Usually, when we see 2 high-level grapplers, the fight's going to stay standing. Yeah. she's going to have to be faster. She's going to have to hit and move because I know Harrison's going to come. She's going to use her weight. She's going to use her size to try to make this fight dirty if the fight stays standing. But I'm leaning towards Harrison just because she's the bigger and stronger fighter.
Okay, and what about Merab and O'Malley? Who's winning that?
I'm going for Merab. Obviously, I think he's got more ways to win the fight. He's good, got good striking, good grappling, good wrestling. He keeps the pace, got cardio for days. If anybody's going to have to make some changes, it's going to be O'Malley. He relies on his counter striking, which he's very good at. You saw what he did with the Funk Master. Made him swing and miss. All that Merab has got to do is got to stay composed. He's got to stay in good position all the way through because a good striker, good counter striker, and frustrating fighter in O'Malley, he tries to get his opponents to get frustrated. He tries to get him out of position, tries to get him start reaching for shots, and that's when he's got you. So in order for Merab to win, keep the pace, do what he did last time, but just stay in good position. So I'm leaning towards Merab. Got to go with the old Ray Longo and Matt Serra OG crew,
We know that Islam is now coming in your division. He's going to be fighting Della Maddalena. At some point, they're going to book that fight. That's going to be great. Just before we talk about that fight, what do you make of him moving up? Because obviously he did cut a lot of weight to 55. He's pretty strong in the weight class. How much success do you think he'll have up there?
I think he'll have great success, man. I mean a lot of the Khabib and though that team, they walk around very heavy. They're really big 155ers. So I think he'll do well in the 170, and the fact that it's just going to be a better weight cut. They're going to be 100% when they step out there. When you're having to cut as much weight as those guys do, you're never really stepping out there 100%. So I think he's going to be better. He's going to have more energy. He's going to be stronger. But I think it's a very tough fight against JDM. JDM, he's a big guy, man. Very strong, got great boxing and good takedown defense. I think Islam's going to have a hard time doing what he usually does at 155 against JDM. JDM is just really, really good. And he's got cardio for days. He can grapple and he can defend the takedown all day and still have the power and speed to put his hands on you and finish. And you've seen him do that his last several fights. So, I think it's going to be a tough one, but I think he'll do very well in this division.
Okay. Does he beat Della Maddalena, do you think?
I mean, I think he could. He can. Mm-hmm. He can win this fight. Right. It's not a for sure thing. It's not one of those like on paper, he's going to just beat him. No. He can win it. It all depends on who shows up and who sticks to their game plan.
Okay. But if you had to give a lean, if you had to pick someone, who would you pick?
I'm going to go for JDM.
Okay. That's fair. And speaking of JDM, and we'll end things here, what did you think of his win over Belal Muhammad? A pretty dominant victory. I mean, he had the layoff and everything, and he went out there and I thought he won decisively.
I thought he did too. I thought he did a great game plan. Very, very strong takedown defense. Like I said, it's very difficult to defend a takedown and still get back up and throw with power and speed. And he did just that. I mean, it was such a hard guy to get down and keep down that he just made it work for him and he come out with the win. His angles that fight were just amazing. His 1-2 step off twos. I think that had a lot to do with Belal having a hard time getting him down because he just wasn't standing there in front of him. Putting his hands and his knees together also played a huge factor because it made it difficult for him to shoot on the legs. But I hear that he's just such a crazy, strong guy, JDM is. Yeah. So I think that helped a lot, just focusing really hard on the takedown defense and keeping the fight standing. That just, it worked for him. It was a great game plan and he stuck to it. Yeah, that's the hard part. Yeah. Is sticking to the game plan when you're fighting somebody like him, like Belal. So I've faced Belal Muhammad, and he was strong, dude, strong. And it just goes to show how strong JDM is as well.
Yeah, and you got a strong arm in this interview, holding up the camera the whole time. I got to give you credit, Steven. Always a pleasure, my friend. If there's anyone you want to thank,
I'm getting a good shoulder burn.
Yes, for sure. Any?
I want to thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to thank you, man, for having me on. My team, Upstate Karate Team Pitch Black. And hopefully after the fight, we can get on another call, man, and do this again.